What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Manz back again with another Full Sail interview. Today I'm at Studio 18, Studio A, Control, with my boys Charles. Charles, tell the people who you are.
Hey, my name's Charles Lanker. I currently go to Full Sail, about to graduate actually.
Nice.
And I'm the manager here over at Studio 18. Been doing this for about a year now. So I'm just rocking out, having good vibes.
Hear that? I just feel like I'm not doing it. The man's a manager at the studio, still in school. Alright, so first question. How did you get into music? What got you into music? Any influences? What?
So when I was in middle school, my first influence into music was actually like the middle school concert band. And then ever since then, I went into my high school concert band. I did a bunch of independent ensembles and stuff like that. I'd never written a piece of music until I got to Full Sail, even though I went to music production.
Yeah.
So when I got there, I was exposed to a bunch of songwriting. I was exposed to all types of things. And then when I first started working here, I got exposed to R&B, hip-hop especially, old soul. My exposure to music has grown exponentially, even from when I started in my middle school concert band back in the 9 years ago, I guess now. Honestly, when I went into Full Sail, I went there with the intention of wanting to write music for films, just because I had that orchestral background.
Yeah.
A big influence of mine when I was younger was Hans Zimmer and John Williams, just because they're like the big movie film scores. But then especially once I got to Studio 18, once I was exposed to all this songwriting and all this production that was happening around me, I was like, okay, I see like different lanes that I want to go through now, even though I never expected to be working in a studio.
You remember?
Albeit managing it.
Yeah.
When I was in Full Sail.
Yeah, that's super dope. Do you remember what was the song or like what made you be like, all right, cool, like I don't just want to make music behind movies? Was there like a specific song? Was there something you came into in here and you're like, whoa, I want to do more with music?
Probably the song is called Pine and Ginger by Mindy K. Frost, Valleys, and Tessellated, that I believe, I'm not entirely sure, don't quote me on this, that we recorded and mixed in the studio.
I drink pine and ginger.
But yeah, that song especially exposed me to house, a bunch of island music at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's when like my eyes opened up to R&B especially.
Nice.
Because we get so many hip hop and R&B artists in here that it's like, how could I not start to like it after just hearing it for 10 hours a day?
So how'd you hear about Full Sail? How'd you get into this whole journey?
I first heard about Full Sail because one of my old classmates back in high school went to Full Sail, I believe, for audio engineering.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure he works at Sweetwater now in Indiana.
Big deal.
After he graduated, he went to Sweetwater, and then that was always on like the back burner. I heard about it, and then I never really made a conscious effort to look into the school until my senior year of high school. And then once that happened, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I don't want to go to a school that will make me hate my job for the rest of my life. Like, I was at Soundbar last night till 12. I didn't get to sleep until 3 o'clock this morning. Woke up at 7. We're here at 9 a.m.
All right, so you're finishing up Full Sail. You're in your last month, right?
Yeah.
What can you say you took away from the school? Because I know you learned a lot of stuff in here. Working in the studio, you get to deal with a lot of things, and you become well-rounded more than any student going to school, because you're having that real-world experience. What did you learn in Full Sail? What do you say is like the biggest takeaway?
Something that I learned at Full Sail and here at the same time was how to work super efficiently under tight deadlines. It was a bad habit of mine, but I wanted to challenge myself. Towards the end, the past 3 months, I would not do any of my assignments until Sunday. And then I would start them on Sunday just to see how quickly I could do them.
Yeah.
And then I would turn them in just to see if I could still get a good grade or not. And either the teacher liked me or like I actually did some good work, but I passed all my classes like really well.
I think you just were good at what you did. Because I know a lot of
I would like wait until 7 p.m. on Sunday and be like, all right, got my coffee, let's go. I'm going to finish this stuff in 4 hours. It's a week's worth of assignments. That should probably take me like 10 hours.
Yeah, it should, and on a healthy week.
But if I do it correctly, I should have already been done.
Yeah, Sunday should have been the day you're like, whew.
Nope.
All right, or double check that you have every assignment in. You are a risk taker.
I would. You gotta take risks sometimes.
I know,
especially in this industry.
I know. So Sundays were usually like where I'll leave my big assignment. Like if I had like a whole project of like notating something, I'm like, all right, you know what, I'll save that till Sunday, and then it comes up to like 11:50. I'm like,
I would do my assignments on Sunday. I'd usually work at Publix on Sunday as well. So
we liked it.
Yeah, this is my screwed up mind.
Yeah.
So I would get up at like 6. I'd do all like as much as I could up until 1 when I had to go to work, and then I would I would rush through my very last project on my 1 hour break, and I would do it literally as fast as I could, and I'd turn.
Alright, so before I get into any more Full Sail questions, because this is too dope and it's been running through my mind. This is a pretty sweet gig. It's in a crib, but you won't even expect it to be in here. Like, of course, outside, like, it's like, oh, that's, it's artsy, it's fancy. But when you get inside, it's a whole nother world. How did you land this job? Was it an internship? Or is it a job?
It's a job.
Yeah, because you're a manager.
That started as an internship. And so it's actually a really interesting story. So while I was working at Publix last March, it was over a year now that I've been here. Last March, I was working at Publix, and I was working the coffee aisle because I love coffee and I have a caffeine addiction.
They should not have you at that aisle.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm not the one that makes me stock coffee. Anyways, so this guy starts walking down this aisle, and he's like, just doing his thing, and Publix is big on customer service. I'm just being friendly, be like, hey sir, do you need any help? And the guy's like, oh, I'm just trying to look for coffee. And I'm like, oh, you screwed up asking me for that. So I'm spending like 10 minutes giving this guy recommendations for coffee, telling him which one's best, telling him which ones I like. Be like, oh yeah, I really like this Javalia cold brew, or the Cafe Bustelo is really good. And he's like, I don't remember how or why, but we got into the topic of where I go to school. I was like, yeah, I go to Full Sail. And the guy's like, yeah, I own a recording studio right down the road. So I was like, you should invite me by, man. We exchanged contact info. About 2 weeks later, I came by the studio. And I'll never forget, I went to Hall of Fame 8, and I went to a Leslie Brathwaite panel. And one of the interns that he had with him said that the first time she tried to get an internship with an engineer down in Miami, she brought the engineer a bottle of wine as a first impression. So what I did was I brought my boss, his name's Connor, who was the guy who was in Publix. I brought him a bottle of cold brew coffee the first time they came to the studio. That was the first impression that the old manager DJ had of me. They just made a good impression. And then I started interning here for 5 months. And then in July of last year, they offered me a position as assistant manager. Yeah. And then once DJ, the old manager, left a few weeks ago, and then I stepped up. So I'm now managing the whole place. The internship was a lot of learning for me. Okay. Especially around business and marketing. I'm learning a bunch of audio engineering. I'm always around a bunch of musical people, so I'm learning all that as well. The stuff that I love, that I have a passion for. But I'm also learning how to actually run this business, because I'm essentially the face of the business outside of the owner. Like, I'm the person that clients have to go to if there's issues. I handle all the invoices, the finances. I've learned that. Me and my boss, Connor, he's kind of taken me under his wing in learning digital marketing over the past year, which we've gotten a good amount of success getting business into the studio through digital marketing. Yeah. So outside of just music in general from Full Sail, like, Full Sail's giving me the opportunity to learn about the music business as a whole, because Connor Studio 18, before I got here, used to run a publishing company. Okay. That they would do a bunch of songwriting, and they would license songs. So Connor knows, like, the ins and outs of publishing, copywriting. He knows pretty much anything there is about music business. Nice. So, like, if I ever have a question about that, or audio engineering, the first place, mixing, mastering, recording, he's my guy. Every single time. He knows so much about, like, everything. And I'm like, how do you know so much? Like, where do you have all this information in your head?
Connor went to Full Sail too, right?
He went to Full Sail. He did recording arts, and then right after that, he got a master's in entertainment business. Almost every single person on our staff at the moment has either gone to or graduated Full Sail. I know we're talking good about Full Sail. We all love Full Sail here, but is there anything you did not like, or that you would like to change? Okay, I'll give a serious one and a kind of not serious one. Okay. The serious one was that I wish I had more time to learn in the classes that I enjoyed more, like audio engineering techniques with Vite. That's what
we're in there right now. And I wish I had like 3 months with
Vite. Is such a good, like, a lot of people, I'd imagine a lot of people don't like him just because the way he teaches. I thrive on that.
How? With the way he teaches?
He's kind of like, he's straightforward. He's super quick. Like, you don't get it, we got to move on. And you're like, dude, I get it. Oh my god, if I could have spent 3 months with him and done songwriting with him, game over.
Yeah, because he's a good songwriter. You actually heard his Fate, like his Fate stuff. Yeah, I listened to it. I was like, why doesn't this man got like any type of placements?
He studied like vocal studies at Berkeley or something. Yeah, when he first came to the U.S. Vite Ren. If you've never heard of him, incredible. Like,
he didn't work with Backstreet Boys, NSYNC.
He produced pretty much half of NSYNC's first album.
That's why Justin Timberlake sounds like him.
That's one thing I genuinely didn't like. Yeah. The other thing that's like kind of not serious is I wish we had the sequencing class farther down in the line.
And the one with the
yes. Yeah. Oh, and I understand why it's that early, because it has to include the recording arts and the show pro, but I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And now, like, that I know about, like, synthesis and how, like, that and how the stuff works, like, oh my god, I want to do that now.
Did you have a synthesis class, like, within your last couple months, or were you messing around with a lot of synths in here?
It's just, like, learning by myself. Like, especially that, exploring things in different DAWs. A bunch of engineers that I know have a bunch of different synthesizers.
Alright, so I know you're crazy busy in here. Studio 18 is getting a lot of traffic. People are coming in. You guys are kind of a staple in Orlando, especially for, like, a lot of the Orlando artists. You see a whole bunch of them coming through here working. But are you working on any projects? Alright, so last question. Speak to the people on this one, alright? Mm-hmm. So, for incoming Full Sail students, what would you tell them to do, or, like, how should they plan to make the most out of their time here at Full Sail? Because you're almost done, man. Like, you're like, looking at the finish line. Your finish line is probably going to be there that Sunday, right before graduation, because that's what you say you do. So what would you say? What would you teach them to do?
So, I have a couple pieces of advice. Mm-hmm. One is something that I didn't do, but I wish I did. And I feel so blessed and lucky to have, like, this job, because I get exposure to a bunch of artists. But if you're not going to, like, local shows, and if you're not going out and meeting people, you're doing it completely wrong.
Yeah.
Which is I didn't go to shows. I did it completely wrong. But I got, by the grace of God, I got placed here, which has so many talented songwriters in the city, so many good connections. The other thing is, if you think you don't have time to do stuff, you're dead wrong.
Yeah.
If you don't think you can get a job, you're just lazy.
Yeah.
I got a job my second month of Full Sail because I didn't want my parents to have to rely on that for me. Get a job, stop being lazy, don't watch Netflix for 5 hours a night, and work your ass off.
Yeah.
Because people will see that and they'll want to work with you. Yeah, you're going to be dead tired. I've been tired for the past 20 months. So, I'm still living, aren't I?
Hopefully. Yeah, I mean, it's there. You're still breathing. You can still talk, you know?
Yeah,
like, all your functions are, you know, like... Can you walk? Do your bones hurt?
I hope sometimes. Honestly. I've slept up here before because of how late we've run sessions. It goes by really quickly. Like, a year and a half is a very short amount of time for this type of thing. And once you're out, it's done. And you have to figure it out. Like, no one's just going to hand it to you. Like, if you expect to, like, just send your resume to a job, even for me, if people send us their resume, it'd be like, what can you actually do, though? Show me what you've learned. So networking, stop being lazy. Networking is a huge thing that Full Sail pushes anyways. So I think a lot of people are pretty good at that. But
network outside of Full Sail.
Network outside of Full Sail, because that's where you're going to find your connections. Full Sail has so many good like graduates and so many good connections. But, like, if you go outside and you go actually into Orlando, Winter Park, UCF, go to a bunch of different jazz nights. Go to an open mic at the Haven Lounge on Aloma.
Yeah.
Like, that stuff is where you start to meet people, and that stuff is where you start to make connections. That stuff's where you start to make placements.
And don't be afraid to ask.
Don't be afraid to ask, but ask the right way. Mm. Because if you don't ask the right way, people will think you're an ass. You can miss a chance even by asking if you ask it the wrong way.
Man, thank you for letting me interview. Thank you for not thank you for getting up early. You get up early regardless. You're a hardworking man.
Always.
But thank you for making time for us to come through.
Yeah.
I asked you a couple questions, dude. Like, I appreciate it. And bro, damn, dog, you're about to break my.
That's just how I do. Dog. If you're not going hard, what are you doing?
Yo, Chico, what month are you in?
I'm in my 9th month.
What did you learn today?
Those are nice advices from you. Yeah.
Word up.
Stay warm. So thank you to everybody who checked out the video. I hope that you guys got some sort of insight or just enjoyed the video just as much as I enjoyed interviewing this guy. Again, we're here at Studio 18 in Orlando, Florida with my guy Charles, the Manz, that's short for manager, out here handling business. If you guys are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Check out the music as well. I have a link to it below. Once again, thank you guys for checking it out, and I'm glad to be back giving you guys these interviews. Peace. Do it again. Oh my god, that was good though. We didn't
watch the elbow.
Okay, so ready? Damn. Okay. Okay, there we go. Let me have this. Like, it should be like a lightning bolt. Like this. Can we edit a lightning bolt, like a puff, like an explosion to hit up?